Hi, my name's Colton. I'm a second-year chemical engineering student. I'm from Granville, Pennsylvania.
My name is Greg. I'm a third-year psychology student, and I live near Philly.
My name's Cedric. I'm French, and I'm a third year here. So I was born in Nigeria. I lived half of my life in France and half of my life in Qatar. So I speak French, English, and mostly Arabic too.
My name is Anna. I'm a mechanical engineering student, and I'm from Brazil. So I speak Spanish, Portuguese, and English. I was born in Brazil, but I was raised in different countries growing up, such as Mexico, Bolivia, Belize, Paraguay.
What do they owe people who are willing to take the risk to come and do it illegally? How many is enough? How many is too many?
Just because I can help someone personally, that's great, but that doesn't mean anything if they can't guarantee housing on their own.
So he walked from southern Honduras, okay, all the way up to Veracruz, Mexico. Over 30 days he spent walking. He needs to make the claim for asylum because word went out throughout countries in many places in the world that, hey, if you get to the United States, you can apply for asylum. In my estimation with him, I was saying, bro, but how are you going to get in? You don't even have the money that you need to apply for asylum. What do you think I should have said to him? What would you want me to have said to him? Dude, I have the money.
Give him some.
Dude, I have the money. I have, if class was in session, we could have done a Venmo, a Cash App thing. We could have raised money. We could have changed this guy's life forever. And just like that, right? I have the money. I could have done it. You have them. Anyone up here, y'all have enough money. You could have radically changed his life. But behind him is someone else, and someone else, and someone else, and someone else. If you study Latin American history, the U.S. has a great deal of responsibility for why his country is so poor. And what's the difference between Donald Trump saying it and Kamala Harris? It's like, dude, go home. And essentially what I was saying to him was, so Nigerians, Ghanaians, and so on are going to Peru. Chinese go to Ecuador. And so in this lineup of watching people, you have Africans, you have Haitians, you have Chinese, there are Vietnamese, then you have people from all over South America. And the line, it's just going to never stop. It's going to never stop. It's just going to keep going. So then the question becomes like, okay, what? Do what then?
It's kind of a fine line because you can't make it too hard because then we're going to have more and more people like Jose that just continue to suffer where they are. But you can't make it too easy to get into the country because then everybody would just walk into the country and will be facing a lot of the problems you mentioned.
These two guys are both U.S. citizens, right? They pay taxes here and so on and so forth, right? What do they owe people who are willing to take the risk to come and do it illegally?
I guess they don't owe the illegal anything, I guess, because they're the one paying taxes. And if you're illegal, you're not paying it because you're not, you don't have papers.
Not till they get in the system.
Yeah, but till then, you're not paying it. So they're spending money to their tax, in which I guess illegal people are also benefiting from it.
Yeah.
So I don't think they should owe illegal people anything.
If Greg says, I don't think we should let anybody in here who's illegally, we should send them all out. Catch anybody who's here and send them out, man. Because this society, it's not fair, it's not right. What do you think?
It's a complicated subject, and I get your point of view. I mean, what you're trying to say, but there's also exception. Like you said earlier, there's people who don't have that time to go through the legal process, and they also don't have the choice. So if they're willing to do something illegal,
hang on, they have a choice. They may perceive they don't have the time. Like what everybody has the time and everybody has the choice. Unless someone's completely starving to death.
But that's the thing, we don't know that.
Okay.
And you don't know the background of someone, and you don't know what's going to happen. And for example, most French people, like famous French people,
Yeah.
they come from like, they came in illegally in the country, and then now they're like really famous and helping the country in like many, many other ways. So you can't say that all illegal people that come in will poison the blood.
Okay, but listen, but if Greg here says, hey, I just think it's a really bad idea, and I think we need to find everybody who's illegal, and we need to kick them out, that we need to go home, wherever home is.
It's his opinion, it's his choice. We're in America, it's the land of the free, and he's willing to, if he's willing to do that, then I'm no one to tell him he's wrong or he's right, because
Okay.
it's his own country.
All right, dude, how about you? I got a question for you. I'm assuming you are of the position that, yeah, we should extend a helping hand to people who want to come here if they're in a bad situation.
Yeah, I'm not like Kamala Harris.
But here's the question. How many is enough? How many is too many?
I don't really think there can be too many. I mean, because in my mind, when too many, it's like, oh, you have millions of people flooding the borders, but that's never going to happen. And I also don't think, to go back to the question of what do we owe, I don't think it's up to us as individuals to owe anything. It's up to our institutions to do that. And we should definitely pay into said institution to help those people. But it's not, just because I can help someone personally, that's great, but that doesn't mean anything if they can't guarantee housing on their own.
Okay. So institutions, I think it is really, that's good. It's good that you, thanks for making that point. Yeah. So it's like we as a society should really help, but what's too many? You know what I mean?
There is no too many. In terms of like the whole taxes, like how many taxes can we pay? It's like, I mean, do you want to cut funding to the military? Because like we could use free health care, we could use better education, we could use better, we can use so much things, and that could extend to the rest of the world as well. Homelessness could be ended with $2 billion. There's world hunger could be ended with something similar, like $6 billion. These things
are
are
more than $6 billion, but nonetheless, that's okay.
It doesn't even matter how much it costs. I think it's still worth it because money. What are you going to do? Just accumulate?
So we could reorganize, and what you're saying is we could reorganize the system so that we could address a lot of these problems. Yeah, I'm in agreement.
Oh, infinitely. We have enough resource. We like in terms of the hunger thing too. But we have enough food to feed everyone, more than enough food, but we waste it.
So Lori and I, we walked over the border into Nogales. We were in Arizona, Nogales, Arizona. We walked over the border, end up in Nogales, Mexico. We're walking around. We meet Jose Manuel. And he says, hey, can you guys help me? Now, this guy doesn't speak any English. And here's his story. He comes from southeastern Honduras. So he walked from southern Honduras, okay, all the way up to Veracruz, Mexico. Over 30 days he spent walking. So this is a really amazing story, right? Why is he walking? Because he wants to get to the United States. He's got 3 children. He's got a wife. He has his mother. He has his aunt. And he's taking care of other people in his home. They can't feed each other. He does carpentry work and like construction work and so on, but there's not much work in the town where he lives, right? So word is out that, listen, go to the United States, because people in Honduras, many people he knows, his whole life he's watched people go to the United States and cross the border, mostly without documents, and then send money back home. And when they send money back home, people do quite well. You know this, right? You've seen it. And people do much better. So he's like, I gotta go because we're starving. And his children are begging him not to go because they don't want to lose their father. Their ages are, I forget, I think they were 7, 9, and 13. They don't want him to go, but he's like, he has to go, and he goes, and they finally say, okay, it just became a thing. So he takes off. What little bit of money he was able to take with him was the money that he needs, that the family needs. So he has just a tiny, basically you could say no money. He has no phone. He doesn't have a phone. Didn't even have a flip phone. He has no phone numbers of anybody to call once he gets to the border to call over into the United States because he doesn't know anybody. He has nothing. He just gets to the border. He has no food. Someone gave him a little bag of tortillas. He needs to make the claim for asylum because in the United States, because word went out throughout countries in many places in the world that, hey, if you get to the United States, you can apply for asylum. And once you apply for asylum on the basis of, not economic hardship, but if you can apply for asylum on the basis of your life is in danger in some way. So many Venezolanos, many Venezuelans who can say that they're against the Maduro government in Venezuela, many people who can make the claim that they are being tracked by narco traffickers, either like in El Salvador or Guatemala or Honduras or wherever, right? Or in Colombia. Many people making various claims because you don't know once you get to the border, right? You can say like, yeah, my life is in danger, and so I need asylum. And so what happened in the United States, Trump said like, no, absolutely not. We're going to put you in jail. In fact, we're going to separate children and their parents or whatever. We're sending you back wherever you came from. You're not coming in, and we're not going to process your asylum papers unless we are really certain that you need asylum and you're not an economic migrant. So somebody like him, I said, so listen, what's the basis upon which you're asking for asylum? And he said, because my life's in danger. I'm like, okay. I don't know his life's in danger or not in danger. I have no idea, right? But here he is. So Kamala Harris says, dude, stop coming. In my estimation with him, I was saying, bro, but how are you going to get in? You don't even have the money that you need to apply for asylum. You need $50 to even apply for asylum. You have nothing. You have nothing. And he made this journey, a very dangerous journey, all the way to get to this spot where he's talking to this gringo sitting on a wall, being recorded by my wife, right? And saying like, what's going on here? Like, what is this, right? And so Kamala Harris' idea is like, or many other people's like, stop coming, stop making that trip. Come on, like at some point, like this is a really bad idea. If we go back to him, I know this guy, right? I mean, I'm sure he's a really nice guy. Like I talked to him long enough that I really could feel him, right? Like he's a good human who is trying to do something for his family. But there's so many more good humans like him. And like, what do you do? So you're me. You're sitting there with me, right? This guy, he has no way. He can't survive on the border. He can't get across the border. He's traveled, like 2,000 miles, dude, a dangerous journey. He can't get across the border. He can't stay there. What do you say to him?
What can I say? What am I going to do? I'm just a person looking at someone that just is risking their entire life and idea of livelihood just so they can make their family exist and themselves exist. I'm not going to say anything. That's on them. And that's not on them, but like I'm not going to what can I say at that point? It would be that's
What do you think I should have said to him? What would you want me to have said to him? Dude, I have the money.
Give him some.
Dude, I have the money. I have, if class was in session, we could have done a Venmo, a Cash App thing. We could have raised money. We could have changed this guy's life forever. And just like that, right? I have the money. I could have done it. You have anyone up here, you all have enough money. You could have radically changed his life. But behind him is someone else, and someone else, and someone else, and someone else.
Yeah, that doesn't change the root cause of why there are people coming in the first place, and that's because their material conditions are already so poor. Because, I mean, you named Colombia and Venezuela, two countries that our U.S. government has gone in and meddled with their...
his country, and Honduras, dude, Honduras.
Okay, well, you can still look at Venezuela and Colombia as well, like the amount of people that got killed because of us and the amount of fascist institutions that got put in place.
Okay, but that doesn't change anything. What should
Yes, it does.
No, hang on. No, you're right on that. That's a thing that many Americans don't think about. Like, dudes, here, can I just put into words what you just said? If you study Latin American history, the U.S. has a great deal of responsibility for why his country is so poor. We have a great deal of responsibility, a huge amount of responsibility. So if you study the history of the U.S. and Honduras and Spain and so on, you just see like, okay, damn. The least we could do is once in a while help somebody out. Okay, so thanks for making that point. But where do we go? Colton, what would you say to this guy? Or what do you think I should have said to him?
So I think you had the unique experience of actually being able to talk to him, and you said you could genuinely tell that he's a good guy. I assume you believe his whole story, that he did have a family back home, and obviously he is risking his life. So he thinks at the very least that even though it is a bad idea, as Kamala Harris said, his life back there and his family's life back there was even worse. So I think that I would have tried to help him. So I would say to him, I have a lot of respect to you, for you, and you deserve my help. Like, I grew up in the United States. That was just by luck. I didn't get myself here. I didn't do anything. I didn't work hard to get here. Yeah. So why should this guy who did work hard to just get to the border, he worked really hard just to get to the border. I didn't work at all.
He worked harder to get to the United States than any of the three of us did, than you guys either. Like, what'd you guys? You took a plane over here. You know what I mean? He worked harder to get here than any of us did, actually, if you think about it. But hang on, but that doesn't help. It's like, whoa, I have respect. So, Jose Manuel, I have respect for you. Like, whoa, okay, but that doesn't do anything. Like, what do we do? Right? What's the difference between I have respect for you or Donald Trump saying, go home. Like, go home, man. Like, Jose Manuel, you need to go home because it's not just you, it's you and you and you and you and so many tens and hundreds of thousands of other people and millions of other people. It's like you really need to just stop and go home. And what's the difference between Donald Trump saying it and Kamala Harris? It's like, dude, go home. And essentially what I was saying to him was, I'm going to give you a little help because we met and it's good. I'm going to give you a little help to give it a try. But if it doesn't work, you really need to go home. Right? So like, how's that different than, I don't know, Donald Trump? Donald Trump's just a little more vulgar and mean about it. But can I ask the two of you that? Like, what would you say to this guy?
Why the U.S.?
Huh? What's that?
Why the U.S.?
Yeah, well, there's really nowhere else that he would.
Why not another country?
Like he could go if you think about Honduras, yeah, he might end up staying in Mexico.
Stay in Mexico.
Mexico's doing.
Or other countries nearby, like Belize.
Well,
in the Central America.
Yeah, Belize would be hard. Guatemala, El Salvador, yeah, that's not going to work. Panama's economy is struggling. You could go to Colombia, be a little better off. But okay, so you'd say why the U.S.?
Maybe try to find like a place where, because you told me he speaks Spanish.
Yeah.
So maybe try to find a place that only people speak Spanish, and then he can.
He was there. He was in Mexico.
But then find a job or find something he would be comfortable with to reach that level where he can finally go to the U.S. legally. And
he's never going to get to the U.S. legally, dude. There's no way. Dude, go back to time-wise. This guy could apply for a work permit in the United States. He could apply, and his great-great-grandchild might actually get accepted because of his application. There's zero chance that he's going to get to the U.S. unless he comes here illegally.
But the thing is, I kind of want to say you don't know that, because if you, for example, one thing I would give him is maybe knowledge, like information that could actually help him reach the US, or something that would help him find a stable job in Mexico or wherever he wants to be.
Well, he was in a way at reaching the U.S., right? He needed $50 to apply for his asylum paperwork. And if he applies for his asylum paperwork right now, because of the policies of the Biden administration as they're laid out, it's a 50-50 proposition that if he gets his paperwork submitted, which is going to be difficult for him because he didn't give me any indication that he could read or write. Okay?
But that's why, like, find out more about what he as a person is, and then just try and not, because giving money is nice and everything, but it's like saying, if a poor man asks me for a fish, I'd rather teach him how to fish itself, like catch a fish, and just give him once of it.
Okay, but listen, go back to my shoes. I'm talking to him. I'm like, I can completely change this guy's life. Okay? But right behind him is somebody else.
That's it, yeah.
And right behind him were other people. There was a whole line of people that, we walked by and talked to a few people, right? So, like, I could still be down there teaching people how to fish, but I had to come up here and try to teach you all how to fish, even though I don't believe in teaching.
Like, that giving him money will obviously, you said you gave him money, and then other people right after me came. So you kind of subconsciously know that it wasn't really the good idea, because now other people are going to come to you, or other tourists.
Yeah, but I could say no to other people. That wasn't the issue. The issue really was the complication of, like, dude, first off, what do I think about the fact right now of just like, did this guy, it's very complicated. Go for it.
All right. I just feel like that question's improperly framed, because you're asking what as one individual can do about a systemic issue. And they're even coming based on a lie, the whole American dream that they're going to come and get a great job and be able to feed their family. And they are, but the fact that those are also the people that are getting paid less than minimum wage, because they are undocumented and they are allowed to get screwed over because, I'm just going to report you to ICE if you say I'm underpaying you.
Okay, well here's the thing. Yeah, first off.
But Americans are suffering too because of that.
Exactly. So here we go. Now you've opened up a can of worms, right?
Capitalism.
So, no, listen though. You have people who are undocumented, then let's say he comes in, or other people come in, and they undercut other people's wages, right? And there are a lot of people who are really struggling to make living wages here. And so first off, you say he's going to get a good job. He might get an okay job, but it's going to struggle.
It's better than his area, but it's still not great.
Better than where he was.
And by American standards, it's still not great.
Yeah. But given where I'm certain when his little terreno, his little plot of land looked like in his house, I am absolutely certain that he would be better off. But the issue is, we're in a real conundrum, are we not? Right now, with the fact that so many people like him in different parts of the world, but especially in Latin America, but other parts of the world who then go to Latin America, like Chinese. There are so many Chinese immigrants that find their way to Ecuador because Chinese can get to Ecuador without a visa. And then once you get to Ecuador without a visa and you have enough money, then you go north to get to the border of the United States. So what we see, when I was leaving Mexico, as I'm walking out, here's this big line of people who are waiting to have their paperwork processed. And the people like him versus the other people who are applying for asylum, because they're all standing in line like this with their folder and their papers. And their papers are everything for them, right? So there's a big line of people, and there are people with their papers. And I know, those are the asylum seekers, okay? So in that lineup are, as we were leaving Nogales, there are Africans, there are Haitians, Africans who went to South America, like including, in different countries. I think Africans go to Peru, different places in Africa, right? You go to different countries, but it's mostly West Africans, right? Going to So Nigerians, Ghanaians, and so on are going to Peru. Chinese go to Ecuador. And so in this lineup of watching people, you have Africans, you have Haitians, you have Chinese, there are Vietnamese, then you have people from all over South America. And the line, it's just going to never stop. It's going to never stop. It's just going to keep going. So then the question becomes like, okay, what? Do what then?
Yeah, so it's a fine line, and honestly, like, I know we've talked about how hard immigration is, but as you're kind of getting to, it needs to be at least a little bit hard, or else everybody will just pour into the United States. So there's kind of a fine line, because you can't make it too hard, because then we're going to have more and more people like Jose that just continue to suffer where they are. But you can't make it too easy to get into the country, because then everybody would just walk into the country and will be facing a lot of the problems you mentioned.
Okay, so here, I want to respond to the everybody. I think you're using that euphemistically, but I actually want to put a number to that. So Gallup does a poll every year, and they do a poll all around the world, and they poll people to say, like, hey, if you had the opportunity to permanently leave your country and go to another country, A, what country would it be that you would go to? And B, first off, would you do it? And A, and B, what country would you go to? Right? So not everyone, so it's estimated at about 650 to 700 million human beings on the planet. There's 8 billion of us on the planet. So only 650 to 700 million would actually take that proposition. They would pick up, shutter their door, take off, permanently move, and never go back. So, that's not a lot of folks, right? That's less than 10%, which is like, really, I think, Colting, you were using the word everybody euphemistically, but I just want to put a number to that. People don't want to leave their home any more than any of us do, right? Like, bro, if I could say to you, for example, hey, listen, man, you can go to Qatar, right? And like, you can make a lot of money in Qatar, bro, and you can, you make a lot of money, but what you got to do, you got to move there, man. And like, you're going to move there permanently, like Cedric's parents. And that means you're going to leave home, you're going to leave all your friends and all your family here, and you're going to go to Qatar. And don't think about cell phones and stuff, right? Because it's not about that. It's like, yeah, but I can FaceTime with my whoever every day. It's like, no. You're going to go and you're going to live there forever. Would you go?
Yeah, I definitely would not go.
Yeah, most people,
would not go.
most people, regardless of who they are, they don't want to go, man. They don't want to leave. It's their culture. It's their life. It's cool. You think about it, to go, like the two of you, right? You're traveling all over the world, really. You're living in different places. You're like living your best life because you're experiencing all these different worlds. But most people don't want to do that. And of all the people who say, like, yeah, I would leave my home country and I would go somewhere else, on average, 130 to 140 million of them would come to the United States. So it's not that many people, relatively speaking, right? So it's like, okay, 130, 140 million. Like, that's like, 40% of the population, but still, right? I think we have to put this in perspective.
You mentioned about how there's a lot of people who wants to stay, but there's also thousands of people who are risking their lives to cross that border, and we're kind of in a conundrum of, do we let them through or do we not? But I also wanted to ask, like, what about all the people who are also in the same situation as Jose, but decided not to travel? Maybe they imagine that they live the exact same lives, but one family remained to stay, and the other, Jose, decided to travel and leave the family behind for the opportunity. If we are to consider all that, how should we treat those people who are remaining in that bad environment when we know that the opportunity that we might provide in the States is objectively better? Do we have to like now that we let Jose in, do we have to also allow the people who are also in that same environment who decided not to seek out that better help into like a new opportunity because we know it's better for them?
Everybody that is in his situation or in any other dangerous situation, or they're in poverty, whatever it may be, they have to make the decision. Do they want to make a lengthy trip up to the border and try to get in, or do they want to stay? So that's kind of what I was saying. Some of them are going to listen to Donald Trump and Kamala Harris, and some of them are not going to listen and come up. But if we say, hey, everybody come up, everybody will make that trip.
Well, here.
All 130 million or whatever.
Okay, listen, man. So, in a way, there was a surge of people coming to the border in the last 2 years of the Trump presidency, right? And people were, and especially when the government of Venezuela crashed, okay? But when Biden came into office and said, hey, we're not going to be like this guy. It's like, if you come up here and you ask for asylum, like we're going to give you asylum. Word goes out to lots of people like Jose Manuel to say like, oh, okay, here we go. He doesn't have internet in his house. He doesn't have a smartphone. He doesn't talk to anybody in the United States. He just hears the rumor that says, go to the U.S. and people are getting asylum. So boom, there he goes. 30 to 40 days of walking and then get on the top of a train. If I think about morality and right and wrong, like as I was talking to him, I'm just thinking, that's so immoral to put that message out there. You know what I mean? And this goes, bro, to your question. It's like, what about people back home? It's like, yeah, to people back who didn't go, like, dude, stay home. It's far too dangerous. It's more, say your piece.
Obama and Biden deported more people than Trump did.
Yeah,
so it's not just a Trump issue. It's just an overall American issue.
Yeah.
That we continue to deport people.
Dude, I hear that. And I'm saying the Trump thing because Trump gets such like a bad press right now. And in fact, it may be that his policy, strangely enough, and I'm talking to this guy, Jose Manuel, and I'm thinking, damn, Trump's policy might be more moral than the other policy. Like, by saying like, no, don't, man. Like, you're not doing this. This is not even talking about the people who die trying to cross over the border. But hang on. Eric from outside Philly asked, what are the reasons people come to the U.S. to seek asylum? Well, the qualifications that are needed is that your life has to be political asylum in some way. And political asylum could be social asylum, could be that, you're being persecuted. Your life is in danger because of your beliefs or because of who you are or what you are. So you could be gay or lesbian. You could be you're being persecuted because you're Christian or Jewish or Muslim or something like that. But your life has to be in danger. Those are the qualifications. And if it's just economic asylum, which is the case for many people, most probably at this stage of people who are trying to get asylum, it's like, but you got to determine that. Then we don't give economic asylum.